So thanks for volunteering. What inspired you to do so?
I felt compelled, and I got scared, and I was like, oh. And I think the scared made me, correct.
Scared of what?
I think multiple things, right? Like part of it is also like because I know the extent, or like what's on the buffet table, and there's an awareness of people in the room and how it might affect them if it emerges. And then there's a part of it's like actually there's a business, but also I think like all those things are in my mind.
How might it affect them?
I don't know. I mean, I think I'm also thinking about, because I think when you did the pressure demo here, something came up, and that's quite a horrific thing, and I'm thinking how it might potentially trigger some people or not.
Okay.
But then there's also another part of me, but this is a learning experience, and they are adults, they can deal with it.
Absolutely. Well, this is your experience, and actually anybody's experience in relation to you is for them to deal with.
Yeah.
So this is something you just expressed before you're inquiring in your life. So if someone has a massive trigger and starts crying or shaking, actually that's their experience, and I don't want the potential of that to diminish your experience here today.
It's just there.
It's just there. So I guess let's acknowledge it, but box it up and put it here to give you a bit more space. Yeah? So when we were doing the demo, you mentioned something came up at your right hip.
Actually, it's more of like surrounding, and then like to the back of the lower back, and also the mid back-ish area.
Okay, so from there all the way around, or on both sides?
Both sides.
Okay.
It's quite a symmetrical. Yeah.
Can you tell me more about this thing?
I think there are multiple events that came to mind, and I kind of don't know which one to start. Do I go by chronology?
Tell me the one that came first as soon as I touched there.
Actually, when you touched there, it was more like an immediate like feeling more than an image or a memory.
Feeling of?
Like panic.
Okay.
And like terror.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the images actually didn't emerge until the next day.
Okay. What happened during that space between when the panic and the terror emerged until the images started to come?
I think a lot of trying to reorient myself, like, oh, I'm in training, I'm here to absorb and learn. Like, okay, box it up first. And then I went to sleep. And then the next day, I think it was the practicing. Yeah, and then I think the practicing, then I think there was a sense that it was still very tensed, and like it was like screaming, like fuck off, I think. This area of my body, and then I was just recalling recording, I think my father, and then the things that he used to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to explore that, but just coming back to the feeling of this area saying fuck off. Can you describe that a bit more?
It feels like a very acute sense of a hyper-awareness, and then dropping right to disassociation. Okay. Immediately.
When you're hyper-aware, what are the sensations that are there?
I think it feels like even the movement of air is too much, the kind of feeling.
Okay, like constriction?
Constriction. More of dispersion, actually.
Okay, like it's filling up from the inside out?
It almost feels like this entire area is just disintegrating into the ether, the kind of feeling. Okay. So it's not really constricted. It's just
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And that creates panic to rise?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Can you tell me how that feeling of disintegrating or disappearing and panic or terror connects to your dad?
So I think the first instance I can remember is that he used to like demand to help bathe me. Like I wouldn't have a choice. I mean, yeah, like actually, let's face it, I didn't have a choice. And then like, then usually I would just like check out, and then after that, then it will be done, and I would just go back to my life.
Just then, you had a little pause where you questioned the statement. What happened there? You said it was like I didn't have a choice. And then you said, yeah, let's face it.
Yeah.
What happened in that space?
I think there was that moment of like, maybe I could have struggled a bit harder. Because I think what actually happened was I was just quiet the entire time instead of saying no or anything at all. And then I think there was a part of me that questioned, actually, could I have said something? No, actually I couldn't have. Because he's a lot bigger and stronger than I am. And he actually has the ability, desire, capability to like kill me if he wants to. Yeah.
When you say he forced you, can you tell me more about that?
I think usually it will happen after, not all the time, but sometimes it will happen after he gets angry.
Okay.
And then he will wreck things. And
what
then,
things?
Like say for example, there's once he threw a vase across the room towards my mother. Like he would just throw it and it would just shatter, like things like that. And then like, let's say that particular instance, then he will suddenly like switch off in a sense. Like he'll be very, very angry, and then he'll just like be very calm. And he's like, oh, I think you need to shower. And then he'll just like bring me to the shower room. I think that was P3. P3 is how old? 8. Yeah.
And how would you be feeling, I guess, watching that experience, the activation and the shattering and that shutting down and then being told, let's go shower? What was your experience back then?
Remembering it now, I think I felt like I was a vase. Like he was,
the shattering.
He was throwing me across and I could shatter, and there's a very real risk of me shattering. I think that was...
Does that connect to that feeling here? Because it's the same hand movement you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when you were in the bath, what was the experience then?
I was not there.
Where were you?
I don't know actually. Actually, I barely remember this part at all.
Okay.
I mean, it only came out because like I think previously I did EMDR and it came out. So that's how I recorded it. But like when I was recording it, it was so hazy. I don't know where I was actually. I think I was just like, I wasn't even watching from outside. I was just like somewhere in the ether.
Hovering?
Disintegrated also. Like I became like air molecules.
Okay.
But not in the bathroom molecules. I was just like somewhere else.
Like a vapor?
Yeah.
Okay. Would there be a period where you would return back, where you would reintegrate, or no?
Usually, I think after that, then I would just be like doing my own things, and then slowly, bit by bit, it will come back. Like first the outline, and then slowly it will start to fill up. Yeah.
Did you always fill it all the way up, or only partially?
I think I was never all the way up.
So there was parts of you that came back, but parts that stayed out.
Yeah.
Is that present for you now, that experience?
I think now I can feel like my hips like wanting to run out, but I'm like keeping it together, like I'm keeping the outline of it strong, in a sense.
So that it doesn't disintegrate or shatter? Okay. All right. And this came up yesterday when I touched?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for sharing. How are you feeling right now, sharing this?
I think now it feels more okay. Yeah, I mean like now I'm also recalling when it first came out during the EMDR session. And like I think at that point in time I said something like, I don't want to die. I think that was what I said, and then like my therapist sat with it, and then we spent some time unpacking that. So I'm also thinking back of then, seeing it then for the first time and now, and how differently it feels.
How differently does it feel?
Like now I know for sure I'm not gonna die.
More safety with it.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said there were a series of memories or images, and that's one. Can you share the other ones?
You want a PowerPoint version?
Whatever version you want to give. I'm flexible, man.
I mean, I can list them out. Like, I'm thinking, I think in kindergarten, because my mom used to work as a kindergarten teacher, so I'll follow her to the kindergarten. And then I was just sitting at the table, and then there was this kid. Then he just like crawled under the table and he just like touched me.
Where?
Like right here. Okay. Like he just like stuck his hand. And I was like,
on the belly, on the abdomen?
No, like right at my vagina.
Okay.
And I was like, what the fuck? I mean, I didn't know what the fuck. I didn't say what the fuck, but I was like, and then I think it happened really quickly and I was like, what was that? And then the teacher came and then she just, oh, that's not okay to do. And then she just left. And then that's it. So that's like one. And then another one that came to mind was, I think, like I had this period of time where I was just playing a lot. And then like it was just with this dude that then we met and then we were just like, okay, let's have a play session. He's like, okay, play session. And then I think it was very quick. It was very clear that he had a set of things that he wanted to do. And he didn't communicate that to me until he was in the middle of doing it.
Doing what?
So like the one that came to mind was like he just started like eating me out without asking or saying anything. I was like, I felt really uncomfortable.
How old were you?
20, 21? Okay. Around there, I think.
When he did that and you felt uncomfortable, what happened next?
I just shoo. And then I think after that, the image that's associated with that is it felt as though he was eating my essence up. And it did not feel good at all. So that's the second one. And then like there's one more that's like...
I just want to pause you there because you're rushing. Yeah. So it didn't feel good at all. How did it feel?
I think it felt like some essential part of me is being like taken away. And then like I think then he said something like, oh, you're not responding, am I not doing a good job? And I was like, yeah, actually, can you stop? And then he stopped. Okay. Which is good, but also like I think the damage was done. Okay. Yeah.
Can you tell me what emotion you associate with that, the essence being eaten out of you?
I think there was a sense of helplessness.
Yeah.
But also there was a sense of like, the anger is now, but at that point in time, I think that I was also registering his hunger and that how I was just there as like his food in a sense.
Like a meat.
Yeah, I was literally a pile of meat there. So I think that emotion, maybe a bit of sadness, both for me and him.
Like I guess there's something inhumane about it, isn't there?
Yeah, like also like what led to his starvation and what led to my being of a meat kind of feeling. And if I really want to like go there, like there's a lot of layers to that as well.
Do you want to go there?
Like systemic stuff. Like how men just don't have the emotional nourishment and like safe touches and like the need for them to just like dominate. I think like that the systems that surrounded him that he grew up in that led to this experience made me angry actually. Because I mean I also feel sad for him and me because I was the meat, right?
Yeah.
But the starvation is so much deeper and so much more like widespread.
So the anger and the grief there, are they the same or similar to what you feel in relation to your father?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. I mean, he has his own shit growing up that I heard from like my extended family. So like I think also the awareness and understanding of that sometimes interferes with my anger, but then now I think it's more balanced because he was severely neglected when he was a child. So it's like, yes, you went through shit, but that doesn't mean you give me shit.
Yeah.
And then like, but those two things are in tension sometimes. Yeah.
And capacity. as
Yeah.
well, and awareness.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were going forward to another scenario. Can you take me there now?
Yeah, this one I think I think this one I am thinking of some, like, so I recently went to a massage that is kind of questionable, actually. Not kind of, it is questionable.
You have a tendency to do that, right?
Yeah.
To second guess whether something is a violation or not.
Yeah. So I'm working on not doing
Yeah.
that, but I think it's taking some time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think during the massage, it was those like very deep TCM ones, so like a lot of like points. And then at some point, he started massaging my inner thigh, and I was like, eh? And I was like, okay. But then like, and I think I wanted to like, is that a thing? Or like, is that, and I just like, pew, bye-bye. And then like, I think then he just continued. And then like, after that, then I was like, huh? Yeah, there was that moment of, huh? And then I was like, and then he said something that really threw me off. Like, he was like, oh, next time you can just call me directly instead of going through the massage center. Then I was like, no.
Did he touch you beyond your thigh?
So like, can I show you?
Please.
So like, this is the thigh, right? So like, so I, okay, actually this is clearer. So like, this is my, you know, the V that leads to my crotch. So like, he was like here,
Okay.
at the edge of the crotch.
Right on the edge.
Not the crotch itself, but like here.
Okay.
And I was like, is that a thing? Or like, is that, yeah, so that was the most recent time that I disappeared.
Okay. And did you come back?
No, as in,
Like
to myself or to the massage center?
No, to yourself.
Slowly, bit by bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we talked about how parts of you come back but parts of you don't. Can you tell me right now, like, how much in you are you and how much out of you are you?
The thing is, I'm not sure what 100% feels like, so I don't know whether it's all or not. Like, I don't know what is the capacity that I'm measuring against.
And when you're in you, are you dispersed evenly around your body, or are there pieces of you that feel vacant or hollow?
I think when I'm fully in, as much as fully as possible, I'm very evenly spread out.
Okay.
But I think maybe a bit more here, like my eyes.
A bit more...
More full and present and steady. And like hands also.
Okay.
And legs. Yeah, legs, hands and eyes.
That's where you're most present. Where are you least present?
Right now?
Right now, yeah.
This area. Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like through all these incidents that link back to the dynamic with your father and link to what's triggered here, there's something around being violated and freezing and leaving. So I wonder if it would be safe to explore that a little on the table today.
A bit.
When you expressed about what happened here, you mentioned that there was panic and terror, but through the course of your sharing now, you also talked about helplessness and anger and grief, so quite a lot of different emotions. What feels most present for you here, now?
I think right now I can feel a lava lamp that's like here. Like, I'm angry. I'm actually really pissed off.
Okay.
But also like the pissed off is directed at multiple things, like myself included, actually.
Why yourself?
I think there's a part of me that's like, I knew this from processing this from my therapist years ago. Why am I still conceding?
You're angry that the anger is still there?
Yeah, no, I'm angry that given the opportunities to react to like instance of violation, I did the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that's because there's something very somatic and physiological happening for you, isn't there?
Yeah.
When you check out, you're not able to respond.
Yeah, I end up pissed off at that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Because I think the recovery period is shortening with each time, right? So when I check out, then I come back, and I was like, what the fuck? You know, like, you checked out again, like, really?
Okay.
Instead of, like, I think there's a part of me that is wondering, like, see, now there's like two fighting. Wait, I just say one and the other one. So like the first one is like, oh, like I should have spoken up earlier before the violation happened. Then another part is like, why are you victim blaming yourself? So like you know, so like those two things are like
okay.
Yeah.
I guess the point is that when you're frozen or dissociated, you can't. Like, you literally do not have the capability.
But before that, though.
But before that, I guess there's not enough capacity first. So the thing that came up now and earlier when we're talking was about this period where you question, is it okay or is it not okay? And it might be that it's in that moment that the boundary isn't asserted, and then it's too late already. So I wonder if there's a process of connecting to your truth or reality a little faster that maybe might emerge. And I wonder what would provide the capacity to do that.
I don't know.
Shall we see if perhaps processing feeds into that?
Yeah.
So you've said that what's most present is this anger, like a lava lamp here.
I mean, there's a part that thinks it's anger, but there's a part of me just like, is it because of the chili I ate? You know? As in, no, like genuinely, right? Like, is it anger that I'm feeling, or is it like food?
Shall we explore?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Is there
mean-
anything else you want to share before we go on the table today?
I think something that also came out is like, I think I shared this with Steph during one of the session, like, I think there's a part of my spine that feels glued up.
Which part?
Like mid-ish here, around here.
Okay. Can you tell me a bit more about this?
I think the image that came to mind was that it's like, you know, uhu glue.
Mm-hmm.
It's a clear glue, and like the more you do this, the stickier and the harder it is to remove.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like, I mean, this is another situation that maybe it doesn't have to come out now. So like each time I feel like I concede, like self-concession, it gets a bit thicker and thicker and thicker.
Can you explain that a little more to me? What you mean by self-concession?
So it was this previous situation with someone else where like I needed clarity and then they needed time, and then I was like, okay, I'll give you time, but actually I need clarity now. But then like each time I'm like, oh, but I can see why you need time. So each time they say that and I respond, I'm impatient but okay. But each time the okay was said, like it felt like a concession because I was minimizing what I actually needed at the point in
Okay.
time. Yeah.
Which I guess does link to this too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So knowing that there's this disintegration happening here and this gluing happening here, I guess holding them in awareness as we check out the potential anger or chili. Would that be all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So just allowing your eyes to close. And taking a nice breath in. And as you exhale, allowing yourself to relax onto the table. And taking another breath in. And as you exhale, letting go of all the words we've shared. You don't need them anymore. And just coming into a time and space that's for you, for your support, where it's safe to feel and be and express in any way at all. Knowing that I'm here to support you and that your experience is very welcome and invited. And today, connecting in with intention to perhaps explore some of that anger that's there and those sensations of disintegrating around your hips and back, and perhaps that glue in the mid-back. Not needing to force anything at all. Letting go of outcome. And I'm going to be quiet for a little while and connect in with my hands. But if you experience any sensations or strong emotions or have any memories or images, please let me know.
The back of my head is tensing.
Okay, I'm going to take my hands off for a second. Thanks for letting me know. And does it start to ease when I remove my hands?
No, she started before.
Okay. And does it feel safe with the tensing that's there?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just acknowledging that. I'm going to place my hands back on again.
It feels like something trying to jump out of my chest, my sternum area.
Okay, I'm going to come there, okay? Support. Can you show me where with your hand? Okay. Okay. Just bring your attention and your breath to that part of you that's wanting to jump out, knowing that my hands are here to support. Can you let me know what sensations you're feeling there?
I'm a bit scared to breathe.
Scared to breathe? Okay. I want you to just notice that you are breathing.
I'm kind of forcing myself to breathe.
Forcing yourself to breathe? What would happen if you stopped forcing yourself to breathe?
Like that.
Okay. You to bring your awareness here and bring your breath here. Notice that you're starting to breathe again very naturally. And you just give me a nod if that's true. Yeah, good. So I just would like you to notice the capacity to start breathing again by bringing your attention and your breath to a different piece of you. How that might be quite nice to know that that's there. Just knowing if your eyelids want to flicker, it's okay. They're welcome to do that. And if your neck or jaw or shoulders want to twitch, they're also welcome to do that too. Yeah, you don't need to hold them or quiet them. Notice that your jaw's wanting to make some movements, and you can allow that too. And they can be as big or as small as you like. Let me know what you're experiencing with that smile.
I think it's just like, oh, I was just starting to think that it would be nice to have a hand there. And then there it is. It's like, oh.
That feels how?
Nice.
Nice. Supported.
Heard.
Good. So I want you to allow your entire body to connect to that, the feeling of heard. I wonder if you can feel that internal shaking. Yeah, see if you can allow that to go from being internal to external. It might feel like little twitches or like the body wants to shake a bit. So you don't need to quiet that either. Good. And it's okay for your toes to flex and move like that as much as they want. And there is space to do so. Good. Good. Would you like to have the sheet removed from your feet?
Kind of want it on.
You want it on? Okay. You can notice how your neck and head are wanting to move a little and that the back of your head's wanting to articulate. So you can really allow that. Yeah, good. And notice that your breath just increased a lot. So I want you to connect to that space that you just made. Good. Integrate it. Let it be real. You can feel that little gentle movement in the head continuing. You don't have to quiet it. You can take as much time and space as you need to allow your neck to unwind. I might come and support that with my hands. Would that be okay? Yeah. What's the thought?
I kind of want to snap my head off.
You want to snap your head off?
Yeah.
Why would you want to do that?
Kind of heavy.
It's heavy. What would happen if you allowed your cheek, one of your cheeks, to rest into my hand so I can support it? Good. So let my hand carry the weight. So you don't have to carry the weight anymore. Good. Really let me support you. Good.
Maybe I want a pillow.
A pillow? Sure. Could someone grab me a pillow, please?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Well, let's test it out. We can always try. Thank you. Okay, you can gently lift your head up and let's see how that feels. Would you like to keep the pillow or remove the pillow?
It's a bit high.
It's a bit high. Shall I take it away?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to instead put my hands under your head. Will that be all right?
Okay.
Okay. So you can let my hands be the pillow. Is that good? Yeah. Okay. And tell me about your smile.
It's the same thing as the hand to the chest.
It felt just right?
Yeah.
Mm.
The timing.
Mm. And let your body integrate that. You can really open and move your jaw around. If it wants to do it, you can welcome that.
I just feel it tightening.
Mm. Can you let me know what you're experiencing?
Kind of pissed off.
Tell me where you can feel that pissed off.
I think right now, like base of my collarbone.
Mm-hmm. And is there a thought that goes with the feeling of being pissed off?
I'm pissed at my jaw.
You're pissed at your jaw?
Yeah.
Why are you pissed at your jaw?
Why are you tightening up?
I'm going to move to your side again to support you. How would your jaw respond to your being pissed off at your jaw? How would it respond?
Give me space, shut up.
Yeah. Can we allow that?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just make a little space for your jaw to have its experience. And it can make all the funky, weird shapes at once. Yeah, so you can just allow that.
Also, there's a tension behind my eyes.
Okay. As you're breathing in there, are you connecting to that pissed off feeling?
Yeah, a bit.
Yeah. Is the pissed off feeling the same as anger, or is it different?
It feels a bit more lighthearted.
Lighthearted. Okay. I want you to see if you can just breathe into that pissed off feeling. Connect to it, and through your exhale allow it to move. Good. Breathe in to connect. And allow your exhale to come through an open mouth. Good. See if you can drop your jaw a bit to make a little bit more space. Good. Good. And on your next exhale, see if you can invite a little bit of sound. Good. You can do that again. You can hear it's like a very quiet growl. Good. See if you can turn up the volume just a little. Good. And a little bit more than before. It's very welcome here. Good. You just see if you can allow your body to join your process. Your jaw, your shoulders, your hands may want to move or twitch. Good. You can allow those words to come. Can you say that again?
Fuck,
Okay. Are there other words that are wanting to come? Yeah, you can let those come. You don't need to quiet them. I'm going to come and support your hands, okay, to see if we can find a bit of release that way. Is it still a pissed off feeling, or has it shifted to something else now?
It's a bit like ayo kind of feeling.
Ayo.
Yeah.
Can you tell me in English, not Singlish?
Like silly baby kind of feeling.
I don't get it. So
feels a bit like
the emotion. There's a part of you saying you're having don't be silly.
Not in a judgmental way, but kind of like when you see a baby try to bite an apple when it doesn't have teeth yet.
Okay.
And you're like, ayo, that kind of feeling.
So that part of you, can we just acknowledge it's there, but allow it to step back a bit and give the pissed off bit of you that was just going to a process space to have their experience? Would that be all right? Yeah. Does the ayo part of you consent to that? Can they give you a bit of space?
Kind of indignant, but okay.
Okay. So you can just thank that part of you. And I want you to now connect back into that pissed off part. Good. Right there. And again, I just want to check in if it is still pissed off or if it has deepened to something else or shifted to something else.
No, it's a shade closer to sadness.
To sadness.
Just a tiny shade.
So somewhere between pissed off and sadness.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's continue to breathe into it for a little bit more. Good. Breathing in to connect. And exhaling to allow it to move. And finding that sound again. And inviting the movement through the body as well. And just noticing how it's present at both your hands and your feet. And we're going to address them separately, okay? So I'm going to come to your feet first because they're really very active right now, aren't they? Yeah? And bringing your attention and your awareness to that feeling that's somewhere between pissed off and sadness. Where in your body are you feeling that the strongest right now? The base of your skull. Can you find the connection from the base of your skull all the way down to your hips?
It's like a wispy river.
And can you find the connection then down from your hips all the way through to your feet? Or does it stop at your hips?
It stops.
Okay, so I'm going to come back there, all right, to your hips. I'm going to put my hands on your hips. Is that okay? Yeah. So bring your attention and your breath to your hips. Can you let me know what you're experiencing? Scared. Is there a thought that goes with the feeling of scared? Stop. Okay, I'm going to listen to you and take my hands off. I want you to breathe into your hips with my hands off. Yeah. Notice how you were able to let me know and express and to take my hands off, and that I responded. We're going to do that one more time. Is that okay? Pardon?
Just allow.
Okay, I'm going to sit here, take all the time we need. I'm going to get you to hold onto my arm, okay? And squeeze onto my arm. Yeah. You can allow all that shaking through the torso, it's okay. You can give my arm a squeeze. Good. You can squeeze as hard as you like, you will not hurt me. Can you let me know the thoughts that are happening right now? The words that are there inside the jaw?
Just really sour.
Sour?
Yeah. Really tense.
Okay.
A lot of lactic acid.
Does it feel like you need to spit?
No.
No.
It's in the bone.
It's in the bone.
It's spreading to my temple.
The sourness?
Yeah.
Is there an emotion that goes with that sour feeling that's spreading?
First thing that came to mind was regret.
Regret?
I don't know for what.
Okay. Would it be okay to just be with the regret without knowing what it's for?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just do that. Make a space for it.
I wish my dad had therapy.
Yeah. You can allow those tears to come. They're very welcome.
I think so. It's so much easier if he had therapy.
Yeah. What would have been easier?
For himself, for me, for my mom, for everyone around him.
How would it have been different for you and for your mum?
He can handle his shit a lot better. That I don't even spend like so many money on therapy.
Is that the regret?
I don't regret therapy.
What do you regret?
I think his lost opportunity. And then he died before anything. Why he died before exhaling. Before he could process anything. I wish he could have been happy.
All those twitches coming through your sternum and your chest, just allow those. Is there anything you would have wanted your dad to know that you didn't get to tell him?
I think I wanted to talk to the child version of him actually. I want to tell him it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean it's not okay, but it's okay.
How do you think he would have responded if his child self heard that from you?
I think he would just walk away. Or like he would just ignore it or something.
But I guess at least you would have said it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you say it now?
It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
And now I'm thinking of a client 2 weeks ago who died alone in her room. And she locked herself in the shelter unit. And we only found her the next morning. It's fucked up.
Yeah. It's not fair, is it?
It's not.
Yeah.
The world is fucked up.
Let me know what's happening here.
I'm remembering the client that died alone. That afternoon, me and another colleague had to clear the room. And we spent the whole afternoon breathing in the scent of a corpse. Looking through her belongings to decide what to throw, what to keep. And then when the police asked, like, who is her next of kin, she doesn't have one. There's no one to contact about her death or anything like that. And even when we're sorting through her things to decide what is available if her next of kin shows up, in a sense of for what, you know? That there's no one to receive her items.
How does that make you feel, that there's no one to receive our items?
Angry.
Angry. Where's the anger?
Right where this hand is.
This one?
And also a bit on the chest.
Okay. Can you contact into that now? Yeah. So you can use your breath again, okay? Breathe in to connect to that anger of it's not fair.
I'm angry at her sister, actually.
Why are you angry at her sister?
She does have a sister,
Mm-hmm.
but we can't find her.
So why are you angry at her sister?
I'm not. For not being there for her. I mean, the fact that she ended up in a shelter for homeless people. Not being there to receive the death. I don't even know if the sister is still alive. But her absence pisses me off.
The absence.
Yeah.
Who else's absence pisses you off?
I think my father
Yeah.
is happily dead.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
So breathe into that, yeah? Breathe into that anger and let it move through your breath. Good. And breathe in to connect. Make space for that to release and express and integrate. Good.
I also want to be happily dead.
You
No,
want-
that's not true.
A bit of you said that.
Yeah.
You want to tell me a bit more?
I'm thinking about how he doesn't have to deal with everything.
Maybe it's easier.
Yeah, but also it's not. It feels I'm shortchanging. Like he's shortchanging himself, and I don't want to shortchange myself.
Okay. So that I don't want to shortchange myself, that's desire, right? Yeah. So there's anger and there's desire there. Would it be okay to breathe in and connect to both of those? Yeah. So be with both the anger and the desire that's there. Good. Breathe in to connect. Exhale, let it start to express. Good. And see if you can find some noise, some voice for that. Yeah, if you need to cough, you're welcome to cough. If you need to growl, you're welcome to growl. And just allow your jaw to drop. Good.
I'm getting even more angry at my dad. That the audacity to shortchange himself.
So I want you to breathe into that anger as it increases, almost like you're stoking a fire. We're going to make a space for it to come out so it's not driving your experience anymore. Okay? I'm going to see if it wants to release through your breath and through your mouth and through your hands as well, okay? So to breathe in to connect with that anger to your dad, and as you exhale, send it out through your breath and through your hands. And push through on your exhale. Good. And relax your hands. And then as you exhale, push again. Good. And relax. Use a little bit more power. And relax. And this time, scooping it all out, push your hands all the way straight. I want you to breathe into that space that's there. Good. That space that you've made. It's free from some of that anger. Good. And just give me a nod if you can connect to that space.
The anger is expanding.
The anger is expanding.
Yeah, now I pissed at my grandmother, his mother.
Okay. Shall we try and allow some of that to express too? Would that feel safe?
Yeah.
Okay, where do you feel that most present?
Between your hands.
More like here?
A bit higher.
Here.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can bring your attention and your breath there and move through the same process. Good. I'm going to do your hands again, okay? All right. Breathe in to connect to the anger to your grandmother. And on your next exhale, you can push through the hands. Relax. See if you can find a bit of noise to go with your pushing. Yeah. And exhale and push forward. And relax. And if there are words to come on the next one, you can allow them. And push. And relax. And that word that wanted to form, you can really allow it out on your next one, okay?
Think of the Japanese.
Pardon?
The Japanese. My grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
The shit she went through under the occupation. That made her the way she is.
That word that was forming, can you allow that to express? Take a couple moments, yeah? Breathe in to connect. And exhale, release.
Grow up. Just fucking grow up.
Breathe into the space that you made. And just give me a nod if you can feel the space. And let me know if there's something else there.
I feel like I'm going to be angry for the rest of my life.
There's a lot there, is there?
Yeah.
So knowing that there's a lot there and perhaps a lot to process, but that you've released a couple of rounds, perhaps in a new way, just acknowledging that that's there and that's okay and safe. And I wonder if it might feel safe to do one more process today, noting that you may want to come back to explore, but that perhaps there'll be a little bit more capacity. Would that feel safe? Yeah. Is there something in particular that you're wanting to let out from your anger?
I think the word that comes to mind is system.
System. Your anger at the system?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where's that in your body?
From the base of my neck to my sternum,
Okay.
my elbows, no, not elbows, armpits around area,
Okay.
and here. Actually, everywhere.
It's everywhere. Where does it feel the strongest? Which one place?
The base of my skull.
Okay, so I'm going to actually come to the base of your skull. So I want you to breathe into the base of your skull. Breathe into that anger at the system. Allow your breath to let it move. And allow your jaw to drop. Make some space. See if you can let your exhale come through an open mouth. Good. Allow your exhale to be a bit longer than your inhale. Allow space. Let me know what's happening right now.
There's a part of me that's trying to find a face to the system.
A face?
But
Do you
then
need a face?
to make it more containable? Because the system is kind of big. It's everywhere. It's in everything. So I'm trying to give it a shape. I can't.
What would happen if you just allowed it to be the system and allowed perhaps a small amount of the anger you hold to this non-faced being to leave you?
I'm starting thinking of a meme that my friend shared. Like, catch it outside and beat it. I'm like, how do you beat the system?
Well, for now, what if it's not about beating the system, but not letting it beat you? And letting a little piece of your anger out. Does that feel possible and safe?
Yeah.
What's happening with your neck right now?
I kind of just want to move.
Okay.
And it's kind of like trying to release the tension a bit.
Okay.
And my mind is going to theory. I'm starting thinking of Medusa.
Of Medusa?
Yo,
Is that how you feel, like Medusa?
a little bit.
Okay. Can you just allow yourself that experience?
It's a very specific Medusa though.
Which Medusa is it?
The Medusa that Sixu is writing about in Love of the Medusa.
Okay.
Which, a lot about ferocity. A lot about allowing the inarticulate.
So can you allow that in you, in your expression?
Yeah, kind of reluctantly, but yes.
Okay. So just allow yourself the expression of that anger to the system that is just like Medusa. And I'm not going to direct you or craft it. And just be here with you as you be, however you wish to be.
I'm also thinking of Raya. There's a bit where there's this plague that turned people into stones. And the antidote to that is forgiveness, on trust. But that takes a lot of risk. And I'm kind of feeling petty.
You're feeling what?
Petty.
Patty, I
I
don't know.
don't want to forgive shit.
You don't have to forgive anything right now.
Yeah. I kind of want the world to burn.
You want the whole world to burn?
But actually, no, I don't. But a part of me wants the world to burn. Just burn with all your inherited bullshit. But no lah. Don't want.
There's two parts of you that are pretty opposed to each other, aren't there?
They're pals though.
They're pals.
Yeah.
There's a part of you that wants to rage and a part of you that wants to forgive and let go. So just acknowledging both those parts.
I'm kind of seeing them sitting on each of your hand.
Okay.
And they're just like hanging out.
So let's just allow that. These two parts of you together in your experience. And perhaps knowing that more conversations are required, more emotions to be felt and expressed. But for now, just acknowledging that these parts are together in you. And taking some nice breaths into the entire body. And being aware of all the spaces and changes that you've accessed today. And also registering your ability to speak and express and explore. And also to set a boundary and say no. And that's something you have access to now. And there's nothing more to do today, and I'm just going to hold your sacrum for a little while to integrate. Shall I try again? How's that? No good? Okay, I'm going to take it out.
Maybe a bit higher.
Higher? Okay. This is not your sacrum, but it's your lower back. Does that feel better for you? Or perhaps I will hold your feet instead. How would that be?
Like it's nice until your wrist.
Well, I can't cut my hand off, unfortunately. So I'm going to take my hand out. And I'm just going to hold your feet to help you ground a bit, okay? Yeah. All right. Okay. I'm just going to sit here with you. How's that? Okay.
Can I have a shoulder blade hold?
I'll be happy to hold your shoulders, and then we're going to close the session.
Okay.
Okay? All right.
Something's activated.
Something's activated?
No, as in like, I'm just going to start asking for everything.
Well, that's good. Yeah, we want you to take that off the table and into your life. Like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, actually no.
No, like this? Or like this?
None of the above.
Okay. So I just want you to connect to your ability, very clear ability that's integrated to ask for what you want and to say no, that doesn't work for me. So just breathe into that's very real and already appearing. There's nothing else you need to do. And take a few nice breaths in, being aware of your entire body and of the table underneath you, how it's been very stable and supporting you. And take a few more breaths, connecting to the room around you, the walls, the floor, the ceiling. Orienting in time and space, here and now, and sensing all the bodies in the room that have been witnessing your process, and the cameras and lights that are here. Yeah. Giving your fingers and toes a wiggle. And when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. Back to full awareness. Hi.
Hey.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll do a standing integration, and then we might take a 10-minute break. Okay? All right. When you're ready, you can bring your feet over the side of the table. And when you're ready, I want you to place your feet on the floor. Leave them exactly where they are, where they land. Stand and close your eyes. And just allowing your body to do all these little micro movements. And when you feel incredibly still and stable, you can rub your palms together and generate some heat. Place them over your eyes. Breathe in. Open your eyes, bring your palms down. And back to full awareness. Okay. Okay. Just to integrate through talking, and then if it's okay, we might open it up to the group of questions, and I might share my take as a therapist. Okay. So do you have anything to ask or share about your experience today?
I think it was very interesting for me because everything that emerged was previously processed in a different therapeutic modality, and like the same thing came out in a like different way, and it's like there was a moment I was like, I already processed this. What do you mean it's not done? You know, like that kind of feeling, and like, but also now that. I mean, there's a lot more on the buffet table, right?
Yes.
And like, I thought I was done. And JK, like actually there is this other part that requires reprocessing.
Yeah. I guess the thing about this approach is it's coming through the felt through the body, so it perhaps comes in a different layer from a different place to say other processing therapies that are maybe more left brain. So what you're sharing,
I think EMDR is a bit of both,
yeah.
But I think it's still mainly talk.
Yes.
It's not like body.
I think you talk and then go to the body or to the whereas this is coming from a very felt experience. So what you're expressing is really common with people coming to seek this work, that they've done a lot of other processing before, but usually the patterns or the expression in their life has not yet shifted. And so they're still processing, and sometimes this can create a shift. So I guess let's see. Is there anything else you wanted to ask or share about your own experience?
Nothing is coming to mind now.
I guess the most important thing I connected to through what was a very non-linear process is the piece around being able to say no, take your hands off, which connects to what we were talking about at the beginning of the session and the inability to do that until it's too late. So I guess knowing that at a number of points on the session you're able to assert a no and be responded to. I wonder if that's something you can invite to integrate into your life and start to note if the moment you feel the inquiry of a no, is there now a little bit more space to express it before you check out.
Yeah. I'm also recalling how this process has already begun actually.
Yes.
And like this is like a cementing.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's more like when it's like when I'm in position, like let's say the massage table, that was unexpected in a sense. Like kind of because it's someone that I this is not the first time. Like I think he's actually someone like a trusted massage masseuse. So I think also like moving forward, like even in those instances, how do I say this, like to not remain so guarded that I'm like saying no like immediately and allowing space for trust when it's correct or when it's I think that's something that I need to
Because it's relational discernment, right?
Yeah, like I think the sense that I thought I could trust this person and I could, but somehow in that session they couldn't, and then like you know, to discern, because I don't want to go into the world like, no!
But it doesn't sound like you are going into the world,
No.
It sounds like you're going forward saying, yes, yes, and then someone hurts you and like,
What the fuck? Yeah.
Well, you say no, but then you shut up your no and start to discern, and it's in that space where you're discerning when you've already been, there's already a no that's expressed inside you, then you leave. It's like you confuse yourself or something. So my inquiry to you is, when you go out into the world, and whether it's with someone you trust or not, the moment your body says no, or you get the what the fuck voice, can you respond to that? And that's what I ask you to look for. Yeah. And apart from that, I guess there were so many layers of many things come up, and it felt like a dipping into anger, and then a moving away, and then a dipping in, and then a fragmentation, and so much. So I guess making space for an exploration around that and revisiting. You said, I could be angry for the rest of my life, but there's also a piece of you that doesn't want that.
Yeah, because I think when I thinking back what I said then now my mind is shifting to, okay, how can I use this anger as drive?
So when we were here, you connected to anger and desire, and so I wonder if connecting to them in unison provides that for you.
Yeah, I get shit done when I'm angry.
Yeah.
Like, I think, especially when speaking against authority, I think it helps me clarify a lot. Yeah.
So anger can be a power.
Yeah, it's quite nice. I think anger and I have panels.
Okay, that's nice to know. Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to share from the session today?
I think there's a part of me that wonders if my anger towards system is a pulling away, or like a kind of creating distance from the more immediate, intimate forms of anger.
I mean, now you're a practitioner speaking, right? So let's shift into more of a group sharing. I would say possibly.
Yeah.
So there was a couple of experiences on the table where you would actually really connect into a felt expression of anger, and then you would start talking, so your brain would kick in and you would start to process, and then you would shift to, first it was anger about someone else, and then we came back to you, and then it's anger to the system. So this will be a common experience of a client when we don't want to deeply connect to our own anger and process it. We'll put it somewhere else, to another person that's angry, or a system, or an inanimate thing, because it's a little bit more manageable. And that's not a bad thing, but it's really good to recognize that, oh, this is the client connecting to anger where they can. It's a bit like sometimes you watch sad movies and it helps you to cry, like because you can see the grief externally and it's a little bit safer. Or you can talk about someone else's grief or someone else's anger, but not your own. So it's a similar internal protective mechanism. What?
That's me.
I'm good at my job. So let's just open it now. Perhaps I'll share a little bit about my experience of the session. So this is not an easy session. This is quite a difficult, non-linear session. And you could see it wasn't some beautiful, graceful process, which some sessions are. This was like a bit disjointed, and it's me listening, responding, then her going off on a tangent, me listening, responding, her fragmenting, me talking to the parts, coming back, but always trying to come back to the body, come back to the emotion, and come back to link to the story. And there were actually a few pretty palpable moments of release in the session that I'm sure you saw, but nothing explosive. So all very containable and very safe. A client that has parts, and I think you're highly aware of your parts, is likely either going to disown parts or they're going to be jumping between, which is the scenario here. So if this came up in a session and I was going to do more ongoing work, actually I would probably do a lot of work around parts off the table to try and learn and delineate who are these voices, where did they come from, why did they emerge. So I would need to do that before we could work with a very clean process on the table, if that makes sense. Because if there are different parts going, as soon as one part is having a process, the other one is questioning it or blocking it. So to me, that's what was happening on the table. And then there's also a piece around, and it came up early, and I think that's where the power was, about feeling the responsiveness and feeling heard, and how nice that was. And what came up at the end, which was here, not here, here, not here, which I think we experienced a bit in the prac yesterday. Some clients will have this, and this is a desire to just be responded to, which I believe I did. So again, not worrying. I'm like, okay, like I'm not worried that she doesn't like the touch or she wants it different. Okay, she wants it different, she wants it different. So I'm just gonna respond. But I also got to a point, which you probably saw, where I'm like, hey, this is fucking enough enough now, and I'm gonna close the session for today. So I think when you have a client that is asking for many things, there's a requirement to balance your responsiveness, but also your boundary around time. And boundaries will be part of it, because you wouldn't have had boundaries set for you in your home, right? Does it feel so? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
They.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that resonate for you, what I say? Yeah. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about what they witnessed, any techniques or thoughts?
I have a question about the parts that you mentioned. I mean, I understand from like more like psychoeducation, like that even if you're not traumatized, we all have parts.
Absolutely.
Right. So is there like with the parts? Are you just trying to understand them, or are you trying to come into a space where there's less opposing narratives happening?
So in this process, I didn't really do any of it. I just acknowledged. When we're working with trauma, the parts are connected to our fragmentation. So in the case of abuse, which is what we've been working with today, there will be a part of us that wanted to get angry and it didn't. And maybe that part formed when we were 5 years old and our dad was hitting us. That angry part of us is packed away until it's being triggered in our life. Then there might be a part of us that when we were 11, our mother left and we feel sad and we want to be held and we're holding a lot of grief. So we've packed that part away. And there might be actually multiple parts, and usually these parts form at different times in our life when aspects of us aren't safe to express or needs weren't met. So they're all packed away. So in trauma work specifically, we're looking to understand the suppressed emotions and the part that they go with and allow that to express. On the table or in a session, when you can feel they're not expressing a whole truth, or a client, it's not uncommon for a client to say, a part of me feels this. Well, that indicates there's a part that feels something else. So you'll ask, okay, I heard a part of you feel this. Is there a part of you that feels something else? Oh, yes. And it's really common for people to have internal dialogues going on all the time. And it's really, really exhausting. And usually the parts are fighting and they're jostling around. And so if we're going to work in that context, we want to understand, well, what is the fight? This piece of me wants to tell my story. This piece of me says that I'm a stupid fucking bitch and I need to shut up. That's a very common scenario. This piece of me wants something. This piece says you don't deserve it. So we want to understand what is the dialogue and facilitate some kind of conversation where they can come to an agreement. And agreements might be temporary to allow a process to occur, or they may be more permanent, which allows a shift. We're not trying to get one part to shut up. We're just trying to promote a conversation. Internal voices is something a lot of people have and never really talk about. And in the most extreme case, that would be schizophrenia, where you don't really have control over these voices. And in some cases, other extreme ends, it can be psychosis. So people can really hear like the voice of God or something talking to them. But in some frameworks, it's considered, well, it's an aspect of self, and we've given it a different identity. So it can be really interesting. But dissociative disorders always have parts, and if we can learn who are these parts, where do they come from, what do they want, what did they not get, what do they need. One part might just need to be held, another part might need to kick and scream and they're blocking each other. Can we give them each a turn? There's so many ways to work with parts, and when we're no longer having this fight, there becomes all of a sudden a lot more ease, and having conflicting fragments inside is very exhausting, trying to manage them. Commonly with eating disorders, there are parts. Commonly with any kind of self-harm, there are parts at play. And then, yes, we all have them, but it only becomes a problem when they're overtaking our life, when they're causing mayhem. Either we're hurting ourselves or we're hurting other people. Yeah.
Could a potential result be like the parts agreeing to disagree?
Yeah. I mean, any result with agreement is good. Maybe they could agree to disagree and live and let live. That's okay. Sometimes we're seeking more cohesion than is normal, which links to the concept we've spoken about earlier about meeting someone 100%. We're allowed to have different viewpoints, and we're allowed to have different needs and different expressions and different moments, and sometimes we just really don't allow ourselves that if we haven't had attunement. Any other questions about the session or reflections?
What happened at the start that had you remove your hands?
She felt tension in the back of her head. So I put my hands on and she said, I'm feeling tension. I'm sorry. They felt tension in the back of their head. And so because it was expressed right after I put my hands on, I took my hands off them. But then they said it was there anyway to start.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. But my instinct around that, again, is that it's a subconscious bid to be heard. So you're telling me something's wrong, I hear you, basically. Yeah.
Usually are clients as expressive?
No.
So there's a lot of checking and...
Yeah, most clients do not speak as much as you did. Which is why I'm saying it's not an easy session. It's quite difficult to get someone into a felt experience when they're talking all the time. So you would go there and dip out and talk and go there and dip out. So we did go into some really beautiful experiences. It's not common. It would be more common that the client doesn't talk. Some clients do come in and they want to talk and talk and talk, and usually it's a symptom of a fight or flight response or not feeling relationally safe. Yeah. Yeah, so this is an unusual session. It's not a typical session. Yeah.
In the circumstance that a client wants to talk all the time, what would you do to calm them down, or you wouldn't?
Well, I guess if you set intention well at the beginning of the session and allow that 30 minutes for them to talk, usually there's not such an urgency to discharge. And when you invite someone to the table, you do let them know if you want to speak to me at any time you can. So for some people, they really need to feel connected and go through that process. Probably they're not going to go into a really felt process, and if it happens repeatedly, you may want to talk about it. It can happen that maybe it happens for the first 1 or 2 sessions and then it stops, it shifts. Either they're still needing to discharge or they're needing to feel safe, so they have not settled and they cannot settle in the silence. Yeah. Sometimes just holding feet really helps with that. Just hanging out at someone's feet for 10 or 15 minutes can really help someone to drop a little. Yeah, but maybe it's not yet safe for them to drop. Maybe there's too much trauma for them to drop. So we just want to respond.
Is that similar to, say, if a client is talking a lot because it's not yet safe, you just allow them to talk. Like, would there be a point where, because just like you mentioned, to bring up it keeps happening, but how do we do it gracefully such that the client doesn't feel like we're telling them to shut up?
I guess if it's been a number of sessions and you're in your talk component and you're going to move to the table, you can say, I've noticed that you like to talk a lot when we're on the table, and that's okay, but part of the therapy is to be able to drop into the felt experience And sometimes when we talk, it orients us to our left brain, which doesn't allow that. Would it be safe to see what happens with a small pocket of silence and feeling? And they'll probably say, yeah. Or they might say, no, and then it actually will bring something up to process. I feel really unsafe in the silence. I've had that happen before. Yeah.